Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hero Movie Podcast, your greatest source for superhero movie discussion in the multiverse. I'm your host, Adam Porters, and I'm joined by a man who also documents his horizontal mambo with staggering scientific accuracy, Bruce Leslie.
I'm a prickly pear, and nothing gets me going like a bunch of demented Pinocchios.
Ooh, get them all while you can, everybody. We are wrapping up our super scary season. Did I do it right?
Super scary season. You did it perfectly.
Thank you. Oh, it only took 5 weeks, but we eventually got there to, I think.
We are squeezing every possible day out of super scary season because our Halloween episode is actually coming out on Halloween this year.
Oh, man. So curl up to the old jackal log. Is that what they call it? Is that a thing? Sure.
You can order those things online, I found out.
Oh, I'm sure that you can. Listen, if there's a thing online, you can definitely get it at some point. Except for even with those like 15-foot skeletons. How do you not have one of those at your house at this point? Let's be honest.
It's all a matter of where to put it the other 10 months of the year.
Are you kidding
They take
me?
up a lot of room.
Are you kidding me? You have the perfect thing for it. You sit it in the pool.
All summer with a 12-foot skeleton in the deep end of the pool.
He's just got his
chilling like
arms
it's
sitting out on the sides and everything.
Oh man, yes, that'll keep the strangers out of my pool.
Put a big giant like a trash can in its hand, like a drink with a little umbrella and everything.
Oh,
I'm
listening. I'm listening. You're selling me on this idea.
You just listen. I need to get on HGTV as a decorator. That's all I feel like I'm cut out for this kind of work.
I would like to buy one of those 12-foot skeletons, but tell my across the street neighbor who I talk to quite often that I'm ordering it one piece at a time, like it's coming every month, like a book club. So like in January, I'll just have the foot out there. Then like in February, another foot, and then slowly like build it. So by Halloween, I've got the full 12-foot skeleton.
This door-to-door skeleton salesman told me that if I buy the first volume, by December, I'll be able to have a full-fledged skeleton.
Talk about my dream job, door-to-door giant skeleton salesman.
What do you got there? Tibula? Oh, you're going to need that fibula as well, my friend. Let me get you guys set up here. Well, we are continuing on with our spooky, scary season, super scary season. I'm sorry, I screwed it up. But before we do that, we do want to say a thank you to everyone that supports the show over at patreon.com/HMP. Those awesome people get pre-show, post-show, and Dinger Zone. And of course, they get to vote every single month on what we watch. And here are the results of all of this fun stuff. Coming in dead last was The Creeps with 0% of the vote. Boy, they did not care for The Creeps. The Creeps is gone, I think.
The Creeps is no good.
Then we have each has 5%, and a tie for the next place is for Demonic Toys and Hideous. So and Trancers, all 5%. How about that?
Oh wow!
Now the two that had the biggest struggle, or the back and forth a little bit here. Dollman versus Demonic Toys. I kind of want to do them backwards all the time. I don't know why. But came in at 29%, but just dropping the hammer on everybody was Puppet Master at 57%. So the Patreon people is
classic down.
No, and besides, and again, I think part of those people knew deep down inside that we had to watch Demonic Toys before we watched Dollman versus Demonic Toys, lest we get screwed up in any kind of the timeline.
Once you get the timeline wrong in your head, you can never straighten it back out.
Here's the best part of all of this, and I say best part in quotations. There's scare quotes around that. I paid for the entire year of Full Moon on streaming and stuff, so we can go back to any of this crap at any time that we want to. So
you paid for the whole year?
Well, the whole year. Get this. Now, I haven't received them yet, and frankly, I haven't gotten the email saying I get to select them yet, so I'm starting to get a little bit dubious at this point. However, I was under the impression that with this year purchase, I also get to pick like 10 Blu-rays from their website and everything.
No, there's no way they're letting you pick 10 Blu-rays.
That's what they say. That's what they say.
It's like $300 worth of merch.
Listen, Mr. Band owes me at this point. Charlie Band, I bought your book. We'll be talking about that later in the show and
Here's
everything.
Here's the catch. You can pick any 10 Blu-rays from their site. The catch is once you go to their site, it says coming soon, Blu-rays.
Hey, listen, I think they're coming soon with some 4Ks on some of these things.
Oh, nice.
With what kind of master? Who knows?
I can't wait to see. What's that one? Head of the Family? I want to see that in 6K.
listen, just hold your breath. Just wait. It'll happen. Those were. Oh no, he's dead.
Yeah.
Everybody. So it is Puppet Master, everybody, and so if you want to be like our patrons who get to vote on all this kind of good stuff, if you thought, man, there's something better than Puppet Master out there, you should have voted on it, man. Patreon.com/HMP. Remember, it doesn't matter how much you support this show. Put it at just put whatever amount that you think in a dollar form. Send it our way. It helps this show along, and if you can't do that, just head on over to the iTunes there. Drop us a 5-star review, a.k.a. Humdinger.
Nigga.
And, share the show with your friends. Tell people that's how you get this show out there. Go buy some Dirty Babies merch, whatever you want to do. Just, thanks for spreading the love, man. We appreciate you. All right, let's get into it. Here is the trailer for Puppet Master.
In a house of mysteries,
This hotel seems to have quite a history, Mrs. Gallagher.
Who are you people?
a research team with special powers
My God.
She's experiencing the past.
Because we are all joined by our thoughts.
has uncovered an ancient secret.
I have something I want to show you.
Metaphysically speaking, I killed myself.
But they are playing with an evil force.
What would you do with the power?
You can't save her, Alex.
They have given life to a deadly power.
We're all in danger.
And now a box of little toys
I think someone's in the room, Frank.
has become a gang of little terrors. Pinhead, Blade, Ms. Leach, Jester, and Tunneler. Irene Miracle, Paul Lamont, Barbara Crampton, and William Hickey as the Puppet Master.
All righty, that was the trailer for Puppet Master. You know what time it is.
It's time for Bruce's Comic Book Connection.
Oh, I know a good bit, but let's see where Bruce might be going on this one.
Well, there is a Puppet Master in Marvel Comics. He premiered in Fantastic Four number 8 back in 1962. This particular Puppet Master uses radioactive clay to make puppets in the likeness of real people, whom he can then control by attaching the clay puppets to strings and moving them about. So obviously, this is not the same person who's featured in Full Moon Films' Puppet Master. But fear not, because that 1989 classic does have its own comic book canon. Puppet Master Comics began in December 1990 with a 6-issue miniseries published by Eternity Comics entitled Puppet Master in Full Color. Now, by 1990, I dare say that the expectation for both comics and movies was that they would indeed be in full color. So I'm not sure why Epic Comics thought it was sweetening the deal by putting in full color in the title, but I'm sure they had their reasons. Anyway, this comic does give us an excellent origin story for the old Puppet Master. It turns out he used his puppets to mock Hitler, and that's why the Nazis were after him. The Nazis kill his wife, and the Puppet Master gets bent for revenge. He uses the brain matter from his dead wife to bring the first puppet to life, who happens to be the Leech Woman. She has his wife's soul in it or something. So Leech Woman goes and kills a member of Hitler Youth, and that brain matter makes a second puppet, and so on and so on and so on. So yes, many of the puppets do have Nazi souls, but the Puppet Master himself was about as anti-Nazi as a French puppeteer in the 1940s using ancient Egyptian blood magic to animate his puppets can be. Now, Puppet Master comics are currently published by Action Lab Comics, which is also the home of Ginger Dead Man Comics and probably Evil Bong Comics too. All good reads, and I highly recommend them if you're into the kind of comics that used to get people thrown in jail. And speaking of thrown in jail, Adam, Do you have a list?
Oh, let me tell you, boys and girls, if that comic book connection wasn't enough for you, let me sell everybody on this Full Moon Classic because this sucker's got everything. We opened in 1939. We got creepy puppets. We got old man Geppetto as the puppet master, who gets about 2.49 minutes worth of screen time here, which I think is pretty sad for the title role and everything. POV camera galore. Time jump to the current day, yet there's a man with a John Larroquette haircut. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. We got chest tentacles, crystal ball reading, stop the truck, it's fire show, Barbara Crampton getting it done as usual. We got dead body poking, uncomfortable elevator rides, bad vibes, blow some smoke at you lady is like, she's basically Scarlett O'Hara, let's be honest. We got a dog in a suitcase, 2 chowder buckets on 2 different ladies. I watched for all of this stuff. Psychic flashbacks, the white glove treatment, my favorite quote of this movie, we're focusing on Gallagher, remember? Small head, medium size, small, medium body, full size hands guy who is hilarious when thrown. We got skull face fedora hook hand guy, drill head puppet, face spin guy, lady slug tongue, which actually, I didn't realize before I put that trailer out. They have actual names, but those were the names that I gave them. Pantyhose head smooching, chicken foot rubbing, chair sliding, peephole peeping, tie me up, tie me down, drill head to the face, doll nipple play.
That's the best part of the movie right there.
Slug tongue of stairwell falling, face punching, body slamming, throat slashing, recurring nightmares, 3 heads in 3 dead heads in a bed, finger chopping, and an ending that'll leave you saying, boy, I sure hope they make 17 more of these. This movie's got everything.
Oh man, I'm so tempted to jump straight to the end, but I shan't. I shan't.
Don't chant yourself, okay? It's all right.
The most interesting thing I think from your list is that we get 2 chowder buckets, but they're not a pair. We get 2 singles.
No, we get 2 singles. We almost got
that's a rare occurrence. Usually you either get 1 total or 2 on the same person and then up. You rarely get 2. They're both 1 boob out pops.
Yeah, it's just one. We don't need to see the guess what? You know what? The other one look probably a lot like that first one did.
Oh my goodness, I think that's kind of odd. I can't, I've seen a few movies in my day. I've seen good movies, I've seen bad movies, I've seen in the middle movies, I've seen NC-17, TVMA, and unrated. I don't think I've ever seen the double single chowder bucket thing.
Double single.
That's what they should put on the front of the box at the video store. The rare double single.
Well, that feels like it feels like a fun like MPAA thing or something. Like they were just like, listen, you can have only 1 pair of boobs in here, and they were like, they ain't say it got to be on the same lady.
Next time we're going to work it out where you get to see exactly 1/4 of 4 different boobs.
Listen, if you add all of that stuff up there,
you saw a boob.
You saw
a
one
chowder
whole
bucket.
One there. Good for you.
Now, did you know that this was released direct to video? Like, I could have sworn this got a theatrical release.
No, honestly, it feels like it could have had a theatrical release because when we think of Full Moon Pictures and stuff today, I think a lot of us picture, like you said, some of those kind of not so hot movies, your Evil Bongs, your Ginger Dead Man and everything. Now, I know that's your favorite and everything, but, let's be honest here. This is still back in that day where it feels like everybody really cares with this movie. And I think that's the biggest difference. Even though it's low budget, even though it's, done in like Romania, I think at this point in his career.
I don't know that this first one was done in Romania, but they did end up in Romania before the series was done.
Yeah, they all do it. So a lot of it like smashes together. I read Charles Band's book. I forgot the name of it. I'll pull it up in a minute. But it was really good. His whole thing, just talking about his wild and crazy trip and everything. And this is kind of, I would say, right about in the middle of his kind of career when things were kind of taking another step up.
1989 is getting later, so there are more direct-to-video movies being made. But 1989 is still early enough, though, that I expected this one went to the theater and all the sequels were direct-to-video.
Yeah,
like people say, are you sure Puppet Master is theatrical quality? And I remind them that I know plenty of people who saw Leprechaun in the theater. Like theatrical quality, you could get in a theater back then, like a little bit easier than you can now.
And as we were talking about on the Dinger Zone, I mean, Terrifier 2, a movie that's in theaters right now, had a budget of $250,000. $250,000 just to put that thing out there, and it's making buku dollars. So, but this looks like something that could actually have gone into a theater and stuff. And Band was one of those early video guys back in the day. He was licensing stuff out from other companies and stuff. So he moved on VHS really before VHS even blew up to be a real thing at all.
And I didn't read his book like you did, but I did see him interviewed on The Last Drive-In.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw that interview or not.
Oh, yeah.
But he did talk about like one thing that he would do is get a title and a poster, go to Germany, sell the rights to the film before he'd ever made it. Whatever he got selling the rights, that became his budget. And then whatever he got in the US was his profit margin. So even if it was direct to video, it's still pretty good profit margin when your film's been financed in Europe before you ever make it.
Yeah, and he's been so smart in following in that, which really I could be wrong, but I would think the real guy that kind of cornered the market on that to start with was Corman. Corman being the guy who would just kind of go and sell a movie on, hey, here's a poster. Now I got to go and fulfill the promise that I've sold everybody here. And as long as I can give them something and it's on time and everything, and they go, well, that made enough money.
Wasn't he actually also in the other side of the market? Like he actually was one of the premier rights holders to a lot of foreign films in the U.S.
Yeah, there was, again, it was one of those when guys like him.
We're not talking Roger Corman level foreign films. We're talking like he was the major broker. I mean, I think he recently sold his catalog or his rights or whatever, but he was like the major broker of European films being shown in the U.S.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Like a lot of those guys, they diversified themselves, and Band was always one of those guys who kind of looked a little bit towards the future and stuff. Like he opened up a like Wizard Video, like an actual video place, like before anyone really had VCRs and stuff.
Oh, man, I didn't know that.
So, like, he went just to brick and mortar stuff, and like you name it, that guy's kind of had a finger in it, and he comes from, like, not like a wealthy family per se, but they're certainly not, poor by any stretch of the imagination. They kind of come from some of the art stuff and everything, but he was always just kind of a kid who would, be able to just kind of put on a show no matter what. He was always, like, when he was like 15, he was living in Europe with his family and everything.
Yeah, I think I heard about that in his interview.
Exactly. He just wanted to put on raves and stuff like that. They'd get in trouble, then they would, like, wait a little while longer, put on something else. But like he developed like an underground, like, rave scene and stuff in Europe when he was like 14 years old. Like it was a dude who just always kind of wanted to he's kind of forever been 14 years old, if I'm honest. Like, kind of look at it. Look at the whole thing. Look at how Full Moon comes out. All the things that are still there. He's still just kind of like likes things like a 14-year-old boy likes.
I think you're right. Because I was at one point I was kind of thinking like maybe he's sort of a 90s take on Charles Castle. Was that his name, Charles Castle?
William Castle.
Yeah, William Castle. You knew who I was talking about. Mm-hmm. But now that you say he's like constantly a 14-year-old boy, maybe that is not quite the accurate comparison.
Well, and here's the thing too. You know who he really is deep down inside, and this is the biggest comic book connection that I can't believe that maybe you heard, maybe you didn't. This man adored Stan Lee. Absolutely adored Stan Lee. So much so, he adopted so many things that Stan did in comic book form, he kind of ended up doing in video form. He almost made, like, Charles Band became, Charlie Band, the guy that you saw that was kind of the head of Full Moon Pictures. He kind of became that guy. He had, like, basically a letter section type thing that he developed right after, like, and he widely admits to it, right after Stan's soapbox. He wanted to add stuff on to, like, kind of bonus content and stuff for, the VHS tapes that came out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he was just like, listen, I can put on stuff at the end of this movie and everything, tease out the stuff that I've got, and because the fans that are into this stuff, they'll watch to the end. They'll see the the little behind the scenes, hear the trailers for the upcoming stuff that's going out, and you become your own kind of producer and everything. So it was like it's like today, you go into the movies, here are the trailers before your movie. Same thing was with the VHS tape. You got your VHS tape, you put together the trailers for all the other movies that are in your collection, the things that are coming up, the things that are just out, and you become this self-sustaining thing. And he's always done it to just a level enough that's, kept him in the black just enough. So like there's obviously
just kept him in the game, man. Just that's the goal.
There's lean times and heavy times and stuff, and like he was doing streaming stuff before streaming was like really kind of a big thing and stuff. It's almost to a fault of his in a weird way that he's almost ahead of things just a little bit too much, and that he's there so far ahead of the game that it's 3-4 years by the time everyone else is kind of caught up and going, oh, we could do home rentals as well.
And that's kind of the mode of operation for exploitative films anyways. Exploitation exploits an empty sector. So they're always looking at like what's something that can be done that's not being done. And that's kind of like the nature of exploitation, not just with, the content on the screen, but it also sticks to distribution models and such. Like four-walling was something that, exploitative film took advantage of at a time when I don't think independent filmmakers realized they could do that. And I don't know, it just kind of makes sense to me that somebody like Charles Band or what's his name over at Troma would be the first ones to be streaming and to be in their own video production and stuff. Because when you can't get mainstream distribution, what do? You do what we do. You find your own way to get it out there.
Exactly. And that's why I always have to, kind of applaud these guys and stuff, because while it may not necessarily be the thing for everybody, he's one of those people that just says, hey, I'm going to do this thing and just continues to do it. And it may not, you may have varying degrees of output and quality of output and stuff, but, he's still there doing, I same thing goes with like Neil Breen. I say, you know what? Say what you will, the man's made several films. Are they fantastic films? You can definitely argue that they are not. But he's made them. And that's more than you can say for most.
Yeah, making a movie's like writing a book. Easy to start, hard to actually complete it.
Yeah.
So, just having actually done it. I'm impressed with those kids that did the shot-for-shot remake of Indiana Jones over like a 30-year span. Like, I'm just impressed at people who will stick to what I know is a long, difficult project and see it through to the end, even if it doesn't turn out very good. Like, just the experience of having done it, I think, is good for you.
And they tried all kinds of different things with the special effects for this movie and stuff, and a lot of times they just realized that it was like, going back to the kind of some of the stop motion or actual just puppet stuff was always just the better thing to do. It was always to, you can try to do it with extra special effects, but usually it's not very good.
I think they had one stop motion scene, probably the most expensive scene in the movie, and not worth it. It doesn't look great. I think actually doing puppetry is the way to go for this movie, particularly given the name. Stop motion kind of works in some low budget stuff like Basket Case. I think it really worked there because everything about that movie was so odd and weird that I just imagine that stop motion movement is really how the brother moved. But for these puppets, I mean, we see him moving smoothly, and then you cut to a long shot where they do the stop motion, and it just kind of takes you out of it.
Yeah. It's a really good move with the low kind of camera and everything. Again, here's another little
I love everything they did other than the stop motion.
Yeah,
I had a lot of admiration for the way they communicated it.
Now, all the Steadicam stuff and whatnot. Guess who was also a big fan or a buddy of his back in the day? Charlie Band was big fans and friends with John Carpenter, who famously used the Panaglide there for Halloween. So he had seen that and used it like a little bit ahead of time. And of course, Dean Cundy was working on that, and he was friends with Cundy and stuff like that. So him just going like, oh, well, we can finally use this thing and then rig the camera down super low and whatnot, so you can have these amazingly fast little follows. And one of the things that, like, again, I think that they were super smart with this is just the sound design on everything, because all the little feet going, the breath of the puppet and stuff, with that and the smoothness of the camera, you just get this feeling as if you are, inside this little creature just bouncing through, running past all these people's feet and everything. And, if you're the 13 to 14-year-old audience that this thing is kind of made for, maybe even like 11 to like maybe 15, like that's your major audience for this movie. this movie's going to have everything you want in it. Little tiny puppets going around killing a couple of chowder buckets. It's kind of what you're looking for, especially this time of what year is this thing out in? I forget.
1989.
89. So
So I got a question for you. How do you feel about the decision to have a cast of, I don't know, what do they have, about 5 or 6 puppets?
Yes.
How do you feel about that over the choice of maybe having like one main puppet? Like, I think that this franchise probably had a little bit of difficulty getting into the theaters. Maybe it suffered just a little bit because it doesn't have like a Leatherface to put front and center. Like, it doesn't have a Chucky. It doesn't have like Slappy the ventriloquist dummy. I almost think it's scarier when there's one evil doll. Like, what was that old voodoo doll that was like so famous from that TV trilogy or whatever? You know what I'm talking about?
Trilogy of Terror thing, yeah.
Yes, that Trilogy of Terror thing. So sometimes I think it would have been scarier with just focusing on one, at least for this first movie. And then kind of like we were talking about in the pre-show, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. Well, in Puppet Master 2, you could bring out the rest of the cast of puppets.
Yeah, that's when you get all your crazy other or like, again, okay. All right. So we just modeled this thing after Texas Chainsaw Massacre, okay? That's what we're doing here. So that's like the family that's at the house. Now, granted, we should see them a little bit later in the thing, and I think you're right. If we'd have just saved, like, you were following around Blade, I think is the name that they said that he is in the trailer, which...
Yes.
Awful. Please come up with something that's better than Blade. It's like, his name's Blade. It's like, oh, you mean the black vampire killer thing? No, we
well,
mean...
you can tell that they all had their names made up as like placeholders, and then they never got back around to
it's one of those, like, you want us to send this off to the factory? Yeah, just call it Blade. We don't, who cares? No one's
We got Leech Woman. What are we going to call the woman that spits out the leeches? Leech Woman.
Hey, Leech Woman, can we go to lunch now? And they're like, well, all right, good. I guess we're out of
The
here.
guy with the blade?
Blade. Drill Head. What his name is? Something like that. It's bad.
Pinhead and the Tunneler.
It's not good. I kind of love the idea of the Pinhead, though. Okay.
That was like somebody who's out of ideas for design, and then it's so beautiful, the weirdness of it. Like, it's such a bad design that it's a perfect design.
It's like, here's like a toddler-sized body, but it has like kind of adult
No, I would say it's more like a
hands.
Chucky doll sized body.
Yeah, you're right. It's a little bit smaller.
A little bit smaller than a toddler, but it's got actual human man hands, and it has a head that is smaller than the head on a Barbie doll. Like it has the tiniest possible head imaginable.
I love the fact that, like, number one, the hands are indubitably strong. It's like it's choking ladies, right?
I think that they got the same hand actor that cracked the lobster for the lady on Seinfeld.
Yeah, it's rough. It's just like, these big giant hands, and then gets tossed across the room several different times. Oh, and down a stairwell, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
It's just face down with a groan. It was so good.
So is Pinhead your favorite puppet?
Which one is that one again?
The one that had the man hands. He's called Pinhead.
Oh, that's right, because he's got the tiny head. I just keep thinking of Pinhead from Hellraiser, and I'm like,
I know,
that's
like,
clearly not.
They shouldn't be allowed to do that, should they?
Yeah, that's another one where you're just like, no,
Now,
you need to come up with something better than that. Tiny
So
listener.
the only ones I can remember is the guy that had the drill bit on his head, the tunneler. Pinhead is the guy with the man hands.
The tunneler looks like a reject He-Man character, doesn't he?
He doesn't look like a reject He-Man character. He looks
a
like
He-Man character.
like he was going to be in the next wave if they hadn't discontinued Masters of the Universe.
It looks dead on. Those just dead eyes and everything.
Yes,
It's so good.
There's Blade, who is I guess who I would say should have been the main puppet.
Right, that should be your main puppet there.
Kind of looks like there used to be this ventriloquist dummy that looked, I can't remember what her name was, but I always thought she kind of looked like Phyllis Diller. But that same kind of profile is what that Blade
Madam?
one has. Yes, Madam. That's her name, Madam. That's who the Blade reminded me of, was Madam.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. I could see that.
And then there's Leech Woman, who's the woman with the leech that comes out of her
Who
mouth.
just looks like maybe like an oversized off-brand Barbie doll. But bro, I did not know anything about this leech business. And
I didn't either. And I
it
still
was the
got questions.
highlight. It was the highlight of the film because at first I was just like, well, okay. First, all right, let's back up even before I get to the leech bit.
I want to talk about one more thing.
Okay.
And then The one that I thought was the stupidest puppet was the one whose face would spin in 3 different parts.
Oh, that one could have been like used to a lot better degree, I think. And like there was
I
a lot
think
of
that was the lamest
possibility
puppet.
there.
Yeah. So that was my least favorite. Now, let's talk about Leech Woman because I got some questions. Go ahead and make your opening comments.
Okay, so first, again, this is like kind of part of also the charm of this. Like Leech Woman comes out of like nowhere. Like I said, it's an oversized kind of generic looking sort of Barbie-esque kind of thing.
Yeah.
When you say something along those lines, but just like off, not a good one.
Yes.
And so the first thing that she does is like the woman that he was, getting it on with, she's already been dispatched with. This guy is blindfolded and tied up to the bed and whatnot. And this puppet starts licking this man to get the kids out of the car. Why are you still listening to this at this point? Just fair warning.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
the
And he's like, "Ooh, baby."
he's like, so this puppet
He
starts
can't tell the
licking.
difference in an adult full-sized human mouth on his nipple and a mouth about the size of the opening to a plastic Coke bottle. Like that's the size of mouth that he is thinking is his girlfriend.
This tiny little thing, and he's this puppet is licking his nipples, and then it turns out it's a little slug thing, and then it becomes this giant slug. The mouth
It's a
keeps
leech.
open.
It's not a
leech.
slug.
Leech slug. They're all gross.
Leeches are way scarier because they suck your blood. That's what these leeches do.
It's so huge, and her mouth just opens in this creepy, weird, elasticy kind of way. It's just
I
it's
want to get your
disgustingly
take on
great.
this. I want to get your take on this. Are those magic leeches, or does the doll just go out and have to find leeches and shove them down in its stomach and have them ready for whenever he needs them?
Guys, we have to wait another day. I gotta go out. Like it's a night thing. The leeches are only out at night, so I've got to go out at night because it has to be night. It's extra
nobody
hard to
else
find.
has
them.
any magic powers except Leech Woman. So I like to think that those aren't magic leeches. She actually goes out and loads up on leeches when she has nothing else to
Sucks
do.
them down and then just kind of keeps them in their empty body cavity before it's time, and then just starts right out on.
And do you think this movie used real leeches?
Oh yeah.
So if you're an actor and they want to throw real leeches on you, do you have to let them? Like, could you ask for a stomach or something?
I don't think that they don't as long as they're not you don't let them be there for a day, a couple minutes. I don't think a couple
you
minutes
want the
hurts you,
leech
does
there
it?
at all. Have you ever had a leech on you, Adam?
You could clearly tell that I have not.
Okay, because I've had no
I saw
lie.
Stand By Me. That's about as far as we get.
Yeah, no lie. When I was in Africa, I probably had 20 plus leeches on me every day.
Every sentence starts out like this with you, doesn't it?
And you would prefer just not to have them on you at all, because as soon as they touch your flesh, they clamp into you, and then it's like a mosquito bite. It'll itch and stuff. You got to pull them off, but you don't want to pull them off too hard and have parts of them break off in your flesh. No, I'm telling you, you'd rather just use a slug and pretend it's a leech, or even better yet, just use a piece of plastic that's painted to look like a leech.
I think
if I'm an actor and Charles Bean wants to throw leeches on me, I'm saying, I'm out of here, buddy. I don't need this stinking job.
I will say this, at least according to his own recollection, and you know how the world is. People may say different things, but it sounds like Charles Band runs a pretty light ship over there. Like a lot of
It's we're gonna do it anyway, like that kind of thing.
No, just more like people are having fun. People don't really.
Oh,
it's not like it's
you know what would
not
be
a bad
really fun?
vibe.
It'd be really fun if you let me throw these leeches on you while you're blindfolded and strapped to a bed.
Hey, listen, he don't know about it. That sounds more like a Lloyd Kaufman thing. A Lloyd Kaufman thing would be like he's blindfolded, so he won't know it's coming, and we'll get a real genuine reaction out of it. Or another, back to Texas Chainsaw, that was another Tobe Hooper thing where it was just like, oh, when you hear about the things that went on the set, you're like, oh, this is scarier than the movie, I think.
Now, what I enjoy about this movie, and what I've always enjoyed, what I still enjoy about the movie is just that it's kind of weird. I think it's cool that it's just kind of weird and nothing really makes sense. What I don't like about this movie is I don't really know exactly what the story is. Like somehow that Gallagher guy, did he turn him? Okay, can we start talking a little bit about the end here?
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to skip over it's a 90-minute movie and not a lot of thought went into the dialogue. So like really we're not missing anything too key here. But like was the plot the Gallagher guy killed himself and turned himself into a puppet, or was somebody else behind it all?
I don't know. What like I said, it gets to to the end, and I'm just like it feels like, oh, okay. Here's what I can kind of liken this to. It feels okay. Mulholland Drive. Follow me here.
Okay, this is strangely not the first time Puppet Master's been compared to Mulholland Drive. Keep going.
But Mulholland Drive was put together by David Lynch with a whole bunch of loose ends from other things that he had done, and then wrote some other movies and stuff to go in to kind of be slotted within these spots of the other things that he had previously put together, thus amalgamating some sort of film. And to me, like learning that post watching that film, I realize I'm like, oh, that kind of actually makes a lot more sense now, because it did feel like it was wild and crazy and disjointed and things like that. This feels like there was a lot of, kind of kills and ideas sort of put together, and then we kind of sculpted the story around that, and I feel like, especially, and again, I don't know anything about what I'm talking about here. But given what I've seen in the 58 other Puppet Master things that they've done, because there's like retro Puppet Master and other things where they're going through other times and other crap like that, it feels like ever since this first one, they've probably been trying to DC films their way out of continuity and stuff like that, and go, how do we fix this? How do we make it all the same sort of thing? And again talking on my butt here, but I feel like that might be the case, is that they never really truly had quite a handle on all of this, and we're kind of still as we go, or we're kind of making it up.
Yeah, I think somebody's like, ooh, we should make a movie about puppets that come alive and kill people. And they're like, yeah, we will make that movie. And then they design all the puppets. They hire all the actors. They're like 46 pages into the script, and like, oh, wait. So how's it going to end? Like, yeah, we got puppets killing people, but like, do we need a reason?
Yeah.
And then they kind of threw together this. The best I could understand, this Gallagher guy wanted the Puppet Master's power. I guess he found it. He found the power because he's got the puppets somehow. Like he was buying real estate and stuff until he found the place where the old Puppet Master hid his puppets. So I can understand all that. And if it's just a story about how Gallagher bought the puppets and was using them to kill people, and his old friends who all happen to have the like most impractical type of psychic powers imaginable all come together to try to stop him, sort of like Stephen King's It.
I was about to say, it felt, this is before It, am I correct? Because it was
it's right around the same time.
So I don't know. Maybe, who knows? I don't want to say anybody stole from anybody, but it certainly felt like that to me. Here we are of all of our special little things, and we have to get together.
It also felt a little bit like The Big Chill with murderous puppets.
Oh yeah, a little bit of that.
So if you're looking for The Big Chill, but The Big Chill didn't have enough murderous puppets in it or enough nipple leeching, this is the movie for you.
Yeah, better soundtrack in The Big Chill though than here.
yeah, I have to agree with that one.
Okay, and not for nothing, his brother does the music for all the films and stuff. I just don't because he's not. I don't want to sit here and say that like he's untalented, but what is you got enough of the like? It sounds like circus music just all the time, doesn't it?
Yeah, but
I don't like. I can't even tell you what instruments are playing. It's like it feels like circus music to me and drives me bananas.
I don't know if they can do any better on a minimum. They do union jobs, so they pay union minimum, but they don't pay a penny above union minimum. So I don't know if your brother can do it for free or you're paying somebody union minimum. I don't know that union minimum sound design or music is going to be the difference between Puppet Master being what it was and what it could be. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It's just like, well, we can get Danny Elfman to score this, but I'm not quite sure that it's really going to make that much of a difference.
It's like if somebody says to you, could you get somebody else to do maybe a better job than Bruce? You're like, I could, but that would take effort. So how about we just keep doing what we've been doing so
It's
far?
like, but he does show up here on the regular, so we kind of have to just go like, listen, he should. And oh my Lord, can I tell you, that was so much of what my job was. my job that I've just left. Thank you. But a lot of that was there were so many times where it was just like, it's a body. That's all we really need to hear right now is just somebody that can can you do the basic sort of things so we can do the things that we need to do? Because that's all I need right now is just a warm body who can, at least marginally talk to people. That's all he asks.
Anyone between 13 and 75 will do.
It's like that was always the thing that they said about movie theater, especially like the person that greets you, they're either 17 or 183.
Yes, those are the two demographics that work.
It's
at movie
just like
theaters. You're the odd guy who's like normal adult age.
I would normal adult age. It's like you don't you need to look at somebody and just go like, where's your mom at?
Now, I want to talk about first off, let's talk about these lame psychics. Like there was this group of psychic friends. Were they the original Psychic Friends network? Like, I never understood the backstory, but I know that the guy with the John Larroquette hair, which there had to be a time when the ladies loved a 5'7" chunky guy with but not exactly long hair, because that really rocked
everywhere. Dennis Miller in the Saturday Night Live era, same exact haircut.
Michael Douglas kind of had that haircut going for a little bit.
Yep, Douglas had that for a bit. Like I love it so much. It's ridiculous, and he always looks like he's just mad and out of work.
Yes, he really he gives me a laugh. Like that hair alone. Like I love it that the guy's like, okay, I'm going to Hollywood. I better have my best cut. He looks in the mirror. Oh yeah, boy, that is my best cut.
I want Matt Berry with that haircut playing that exact role with just his voice.
Oh man,
put that on the chart.
At one point this summer, I went to the movie theater, and the kid working behind the counter told me I looked like an American Matthew Berry.
Hey. Thank you, good sir. Get the popcorn.
It's like, okay, does that mean I get free popcorn? He said, no.
Yeah, that'll be $58. Oh.
So what do you think? There's the one lady who I don't even think she was actually psychic. Like she's working at the carnival. Isn't that the one that, what's her name? The famous lady comes in and tries to get her future read?
Yeah, Barbara Crampton's got like a 5-second kind of cameo.
Love her from Reanimator, but I could not remember her name.
Yeah, she's great. And again, it's one of those... A lot of those like kind of early roles and stuff that she has, she's one of those people that just pops out on screen when you see her, that like she's just got that sort of it factor, and still to this day has that it factor. So
I follow her on Twitter.
But she's great in this, and like only 5 seconds. But I love the fact that she is this this psychic is just a person that works at the fair and is burning incense in a house.
Aren't these people supposed to be real psychics, though? Like, we see that the other ones have sort of irrelevant powers, but they still have powers. But she doesn't seem to have any.
She's the vibe lady. She
Okay.
just feels the vibe of the room and hopes everybody.
Okay.
And she's got some sort of weird accent that comes and goes as it pleases.
For the vibe lady, she totally misread Mr. Mullethead, because she offered to, to do the stuff, and he said no. And I'm sitting here thinking, buddy, you might not get any better offers than that.
Yeah, that was a super big mistake. But I think her role was really like, okay, in this scene you're going to get your throat slashed. So how do we back out from that?
Now, who was the lady that had like the dog?
Was that her? Was that the psychic
I thought it was
lady?
her, because she's alive at the very end.
I don't remember.
So here's what because I was wondering if maybe she was really the villain behind it all, and she's who brought Gallagher back to life, and her death was faked. I'm giving this movie way too much credit. I'm building like a storyline under the storyline. But the dog, now, man, I've seen this movie twice, but I don't know if it's just the prop that they used for the movie or if the dog was actually supposed to be a taxidermy dog that she's carrying around.
Okay, I think when she's walking up the stairs, I know the exact moment you're talking about because I was just like, this dog ain't moving. That dog would move its head or something. If you've ever held a dog and walk with it, they move, like at least a little bit.
Yeah.
Their heads are moving, their feet are moving.
Because at the end of the movie, like the very final scene is this lady putting down the dog, and then the dog takes off running. And I was like, whoa, she turned that taxidermy dog alive. She's the new puppet master. But I think that maybe I was just reading way too much into this movie, that dog was always alive. And what a weird way to end your movie then. I
did like, there was one time where the dog was sitting right, and then I think to the right of it was the driller killer, the puppet.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It just struck me so funny that somebody was just like, yo, we got to sit this little dog down. Have him stay still. We're going to put this stupid puppet right in front of it. And we're going to waste celluloid, actual celluloid, on making sure this dog sits absolutely still while we put this ridiculous drill head puppet in front of it and make the head swirl and twisting. I don't know. It's just great.
I think that was the taxidermy dog. I don't think that dog was going to move.
No, I think that one was real. I think the one that they.
Oh man, are you telling me I got to watch this movie a third time now?
I think you have to at this point.
Because I really thought they were saying at the end that taxidermy dog had come alive and that lady had found the secret formula for the puppet master. In fact, I was so intrigued by thinking she was going to be the villain in the next movie. I went ahead and started watching Puppet Master 2 immediately after that scene in Puppet Master.
He's like, what if it's like Back to the Future 2 where it takes place like right away?
Well, it doesn't. And I didn't make it very far into Puppet Master 2, but I made it in far enough to know it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. But it's still going to be a good watch. I'll save it for next year at Halloween because I'm feeling like we found our new tradition. There are at least 7 Puppet Master movies?
Oh, at least.
So we got enough Puppet Master movies now to watch one of those every year on Halloween for a while. I don't think it's into retirement, maybe.
Nah, it feels like it's about the right time. Is Meshack Taylor in Puppet Master 2?
I don't think so.
I don't know. Maybe it's just hopeful. Like he was in everything back then.
I think he was in Mannequin. So you're getting the Come On Alive dolls confused.
Listen, he's one of those cats that every time he turned around, he was in something. So I'm just saying I wouldn't be too awful surprised if all of a sudden.
Was he in Mannequin too? I know he was in Mannequin.
He may have gotten too big by Mannequin too.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Where they're just like, we got another guy. He's still kind of spunky, but he's no Meshack Taylor, and that's why I failed.
We get this young up and comer that's not going anywhere. So let's go ahead and bring in this Denzel character.
This
would be great if his first movie was Mannequin 2, starring Denzel Washington.
And he just decided, like, nope, no more. I'm not doing them for them. I'm only doing them for me now. And because of that, he became Denzel Washington.
Yeah, he was Denny Washington when he made Mannequin 2.
He's just, I got to scrub this one off so nobody finds out I was in Mannequin 2. Playing the Meshack Taylor role, no less. All right, before we get our final review here and everything, we have to find out how this Charles Band movie relates back 1-to-1 with Sylvester Stallone, and even though Sean is here, I still have his prepared statement.
Good.
Hello, Mr. Stallone. I sure hope this week you contact us because this week I found the only person who worked on Puppet Master and also worked with you. That person is as title designer Robert Dawson. Yes, he was the title designer on Puppet Master, and if that name sounds familiar to you, it should. And not only because he also designed the title sequences for Cliffhanger, because he also designed the title sequences for some of the greatest movies ever made. Movies like Beaches. When I was 13, I freaking loved Beaches. I freaking love the title sequence. But of course I would, because I love everything about Beaches. If you ever... If I had to pick a favorite movie Barbara Hershey dies in, it would be this one, Beaches. Free Jack! Have you ever asked yourself, hey, I wonder what it would sound like if Emilio Estevez did a Sir Anthony Hopkins impression? Well, you don't have to, because he does one in Free Jack, and it's not good. And finally, the wonderful ice cream suit. That isn't a bunch of words I just randomly put together, Mr. Stallone. It's an actual movie, and I'd never heard of it before today. It stars Joe Montana, Edward James Olmos, and Sid Caesar because ladies love watching movies with incredibly attractive men. And while the title sequence was designed by our man of honor, Robert Dawson. So there you have it, Mr. Stallone. This week's Stallone Connection is master title designer Robert Dawson. This is the 5th week I've attempted to contact you directly. Hope to hear from you soon. Your pal, whomever is reading this. That's me, Adam.
Okay. Before we move on, Adam, a point of clarification for our listeners. I had to go look it up. I went to Wikipedia. That's the first place I look up stuff sometimes.
The Book of Knowledge, as we call it.
And under the plot summary for Puppet Master, the final sentence is, the next day, Megan sees Alex off. As she ascends the stairs, she brings Dana's stuffed dog Leroy to life.
Oh.
So that dog was stuffed through the whole movie, and it came alive there at the end.
Well, fantastic acting by the stuffed dog. I'll tell you that much. You had me fooled for at least 3/4 of the film. Up until she started
Charles
walking up
Band,
that step, I was just like, that's a regular
Charles
dog.
Band might be the kind of guy that couldn't afford a stuffed dog and a real dog, so he got a real dog drunk, and that was the stuffed dog, maybe.
Come on, doggy, you've got this. All right, here at Here Movie Podcast, we have our own Robin rating system. Bruce, where does Puppet Master fall in the Robin rating system for you?
It's fun for me. Like, I have a little bit of fun watching it, but it's dumb fun. I watched it twice this month because I forgot about Werewolf by Night, so I went ahead and watched Puppet Master in anticipation to do it a little earlier in the month, perhaps.
Yeah.
And then I watched it again. I still didn't really pay that much attention to the story because you watch it for the dumb fun of the puppets, but it's still dumb. Like not everybody's going to like it. I'm not going to give it an artificially high rating, but because I did enjoy it, I have to give it at least a Damian Wayne. So I'm going to give it the lowest, thinnest Damian Wayne out of respect for people who are normal out there.
In 1989, I was 6 years old. I certainly would not have watched this. I don't even know that I probably would have watched it up till the age of like maybe 15 or so. But I would say, like, if I was in that age range of like I said, like 11 to 14 years old in like that 1989 era and stuff, this movie's got to be great. And I'm sure it's got to hold a spot for some people, especially back in the days, like you said, where you know, you just rented movies because you were younger and they wouldn't allow you to the R-rated films. But, you know, every now and then, especially with mom and pop video stores, you could just sneak an R-rated movie underneath there and it's no big whoop and everything. But that was like where a lot of people got their first kind of wild, you know, experiences with cinema and everything. And I'm sure that this movie holds that place for a lot of people. Doesn't hold it for me, but I can certainly see why all of the, you know, why this movie went on to, you know, spawn other movies and stuff like that, because it's kind of fun. It's a little silly, a little bit stupid, but it's kind of what I expected, but it's not what I expected as much as the quality was a lot higher than I guess I had really anticipated. I'm sure that quality will slowly go down as the films go on in their sequence and everything, but, you know, I don't know, sometimes that's a little bit of the fun with those, right? Seeing how they can kind of fall apart, and it feels like everything that they're doing now at Full Moon is like blue screen and stuff. It's like, wow, we need to just get something out there really fast, so throw a blue screen in it, and you need a little bit more work than that. So it's kind of nice to see this still in kind of the early days of Full Moon, where it still feels like they're really trying to, you know, hit them out of the park with this stuff, and it's good enough for what it is. So I like it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting following this through and trying to pinpoint the year where Full Moon went a little bit further from this and Head of the Family and a little bit closer to what we saw with Ginger Dead Man.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be interested to see when they cross that fulcrum.
Exactly. Where's that dividing line in there? And you know it exists at some point. You just got to kind of figure out exactly where. Well, that will do it for this episode of Hero Movie Podcast. We'll talk about what we're doing in the next week in just a moment. But Bruce, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
People can always go check out the YouTube channel, youtube.com/C/Bruce Leslie. Go to YouTube and just put @AnimeDad. That'll take you there too. And on Halloween, when this episode of the podcast is coming out, run on over while you're still feeling the super scary season spirit and check out my latest YouTube video, because it will be a review of a very, very spooky manga written by Junji Ito titled The Enigma of Amagara Fault.
Ooh, frightening. Links for that will be. Oh my. And of course, check us out over at Andor 30 Questions. Just type in 30 questions to your podcatcher of choice and check it out. It's the Star Wars 30 question feed, where every week we ask 30 questions about Andor on Disney Plus. So go check all of that out. We'd really appreciate it. Next week, guys, we're going to be talking. We've got a theme. We didn't talk about this with Sean, so hopefully he'll be like really upset with us about our new choice here. But when he's away, Bruce and I are just going to do what we do. But we've got another theme for you: International November. Ooh.
Yes, we're going to look at some of those foreign superhero films and comic book films and such.
Now, of course, we'll still plop in Wakanda Forever, because that's obviously going to be a huge one. But we're going to start the month off here by talking about Major Grom, Plague Doctor. That's a Russian superhero film that's available on Netflix right now. So go check out Major Grom, Grom, Plague Doctor. Oh, I don't know.
You can thank us later.
I don't know if thank is the right word, but they'll do something later. They'll watch it, and then they'll start throwing their eggs and everything. And, of course, if you want to get your review onto this show, and I feel like we need to say this a little bit more and a little bit more often on the show, if you're a Patreon supporter, patreon.com/HMP, and you watch Major Grom Plague Doctor on Netflix, and you want to give us your little review and everything, shoot us an email. You guys know how to do all that kind of good stuff. And,
we should be better. We should be better at asking for that, because that would be a really fun segment.
We want to hear what you guys are saying about Plague Doctor. So support us over at patreon.com/HMP. Get yourself some more stuff and more interaction with the show. Mark Maron's not doing that for you, is he? No, he's not. He doesn't know that you listen to his show, and he doesn't care about you. We care. That is it, everybody. Join us next week for Major Grom Plague Doctor for the absent Sweet Charles Kovacs from the internet. Bruce Leslie, I'm Meta Portraits. Stay super, everybody.
Good day, Marty and Evie.